Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who've kept us going for over 500 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames. Dude of the week is Seto Spalis.
Thank you, Seto.
Now, we debated if it was Keto or Seto. We landed on Seto. Mostly because
I'm going with Seto, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's on me. Blame me.
Yes, as always. Of course. Everything that goes wrong is Matt's fault. Nothing's my fault. I'm beautiful and fragile. We just got through our Thanksgiving holidays for those of us that are, Usian. If you're, I mean, you can say American, but like, what's the more accurate? Do we just go with Usian?
Usian.
Usian? USian?
USian.
United Statesian?
American. Everyone knows it's American.
American. But yeah, we got through our Thanksgiving holidays, and there's always a little bit of a lull around Thanksgiving because, I don't know, I guess we're stuffed full of turkey and there's not a lot of news happening. But we got to talking about like free game ideas, new game ideas that have sort of popped in our head. And
we're going to give you developers. If any developers are out there listening, I'm giving you free advice.
Valuable game ideas.
Free game design ideas
from the minds of two men who do not make video games.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
So
I'm
going to start with what we were saying recently at the YoVideogames group stream, and I literally came up with it like on the cuff there. And this is about Arc Raiders. This is an extraction shooter. So Arc Raiders is the new hotness right now, whatever. It's up for multiple awards, although not audio design at Game Awards, probably because of the AI thing, which sucks for all the audio designers that did a really damn good job on the audio of that game that are not nominated because the VO side decided to use AI, which made everyone mad and say, no, which I feel bad, but also at the same time, we have to punish them. We have to punish AI. AI must be punished. It must be more severe. We cannot give an inch to this. And I know that dickhead at Epic wants, is trying to convince everyone that this is the future. Every game ever made will be made with AI, and fuck him. And just fuck that.
Start strong.
There's a reason why his last name rhymes with weenie.
Does it? I don't know this man's last name, but I did read his
Sweeney.
Oh right, yeah, no, that's rough.
But anyways, so Arc Raiders, big hotness, whatever. Extraction shooter, third-person extraction shooter. The premise of the game is this sort of weird analog punk future, where people are still using like magnetic tapes and shit, right? So it's kind of like if technology stopped at the 70s, kind of. So it's this futuristic apocalyptic wasteland, where everyone lives underground, and then the people, the raiders go above ground, and not to play football, but to loot. I'll loot all the.
Yeah, you said the raiders.
Yes.
Every Raiders fan's been a part of a riot.
Not to flip cars, but to loot the cars, which I guess that also happens. Anyways, the thing on the surface is that you've got all these AI, ironically, AI drones. A lot of them are drones, different types of drones, or like weird spider walkers, or things walking around or flying around on the surface. And if they see humans, they kill them because it's like, oh, they're security drones and they went crazy and yada yada. So those are your main antagonists. And the other one is, of course, all the other players who will shoot you in the back, no matter how nice they may seem.
Okay, so there is PvP.
Yeah, it's PvP, VE. And I was watching this. One of the problem with Arc Raiders, I'm probably not going back to it because it's a very high quality game, but it's just kind of there's two problems, which was one was like number one. Let's just get to the easy one. The enemies are kind of boring, like small, medium, large drones, and then like these very basic shape, like pack mule things, look like something out of like either MIT or out of like Big Hero 6.
Yeah, robots are always rough. They're always hard to stay interesting for
Yeah,
whatever
it's
reason.
just these weird little things that just have like spiky, like like a geometric spiky, right? They look like a bunch of like right angles, walking around or whatever, or no matter what. So I don't think the robots are that interesting, nor are they that scary after a while, like after a couple of runs. And the other thing that kind of threw me off the game was like, what am I building towards? And I asked I asked Crimson Knight, who plays the game a lot. I'm like, what are you building towards? And they're like, oh, you're building towards a launch. Like you get in a shuttle and launch to escape the planet. Like that's what you're building towards. And I was like, so what does that mean? So it's like prestiging. And there is like things you can bring with you, like prestige, and carry with you to the next, the next prestige. So Call of Duty is you reach a certain level and then you
Right.
can optionally click to prestige, and when you prestige, you go back to level 1.
If you don't know that by now, oh my god. It's
Um,
like the most overdone thing in shooters now. Prestiging is just everybody knows prestiging.
right. So there's a prestiging kind of thing in Arc Raiders. You get to a certain point. And I don't know if it's just personal or if it's like every 3 months there's like a launch event where it's like everyone playing the game has to get to a launch site or something. I don't know. That I don't know. But here's my free idea, because everyone wants to make a fucking extraction shooter right now. It's in a legal quagmire, but fucking figure it out. That's not my problem. That's not anyone's. That's not no game. It's no consumer's problem. Figure out the Terminator rights. Make an extraction shooter set in the future war, the one teased in Terminator 1 and 2. I don't even want to talk about the rest of the movies in that franchise because honestly, fuck them.
Fair again.
Honestly, it can more or less function the same as the way something like Arc Raiders already does. But yeah, have this future war with T-600s, exoskeletons, walking around looking for players, and all the drop ships, all the Cameron design drop ships and shit like that. And you have all these different Skynet robots looking for people. And even better is you could literally do shit where like they'll literally copy other players' looks and stuff to try to infiltrate. And the computer AI itself will try to like shoot people in the back.
That's
It
solid.
just seems like the most solid idea. Make an extraction shooter based on the future war and Terminator.
Piles of bones and stuff.
But what are you building towards? You're building towards building a time portal.
Okay.
So the goal in this theoretical Terminator DMZ extraction shooter is you're trying to get material enough in tech to build a time portal. And what you do is you go back in time and it'll send you to a map of the whatever area you're in, but in the past, where everything is as it is modern day, right?
Yeah.
And what you do is you take your best loot with you into the past. And I know that breaks Terminator canon a little bit, but hear me out. They already broke it with T2 3D. You go back to the past, right? You send yourself back to the past. And normally you could just say that's the prestige. Cool, right? You get to go live like a normal life, but take your best loot and you go you find safes or bunkers in the past. Go find a place where you literally store it's like a small amount of gear, and you make your own like code to the safe or something, and you try to like leave it somewhere or whatever, right? And so that when you prestige, you start a new character and he's in the future. He's going to find those safe bunkers or whatever that were set up in the past that has really good like weapons. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I really like this weapon. I don't want to fucking start over and lose this. Well, you put it in like this fucking, special gun safe or something that's like, Fallout proof. And then like you set up a code for yourself. And then when you start the game, you got to go find that bunker or find, where that was. in the war torn, ruined landscape, and then unlock your gun that you really liked and customized.
I can dig this. I can dig
Like,
this a lot. Yes.
so I'm like, this is what you should do with an extraction shooter. Free idea. Now it's a little heavy because it's like I'm literally asking someone to make like a modern day city that you go back to and walk around in and store stuff in.
Yeah.
But
They could
you could
do it.
even have a fun mini game where like you go back in the past and you have to find a way to discreetly store your weapons without getting caught and arrested by the police and having all your shit confiscated. In which case it goes to some other part of the map. It becomes randomized where that good loot went.
And you're getting hunted by a T-600 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's if you want to go really crazy. Like they'll literally have like T-600, 800s, or thousands coming back in time to like follow you.
Could be good. I also have an extraction shooter idea. A little bit easier to do because you don't have to get the rights to James Cameron's work. But Capcom, I would like a Resident Evil Mercenaries mode kind of extraction shooter where it's all the like combat of Mercenaries mode, and you have the loadouts and the weapons, and you're trying to collect items to say get out of the area or collect items to buy better stuff, but it's Mercenaries mode with other players that you can also fight. So you got the zombies or the Plagas or sorry, Ganado, you know, in different stages, different whatever monsters and stuff. And so you have that's your NPCs and monsters that you're fighting, as well as fighting humans while you're collecting, and you can have puzzles in the extraction shooter that you're doing. So it's like, yeah, it's a village map that everyone's in, so it'd have to be larger than normal,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
having like 4 or 5 player teams, so 20 to 24 players, or yeah, 16 to 20 players on the map. But then it's sort of, you're still your umbrella mercenaries, or I would say it'd be easier if you were like BSAA in this modern day, like you're just rando BSAA guy, so you can like customize your guy and the
Yeah.
equipment you're taking in and stuff like that. But you have to collect ammo, you have to collect, better weaponry when you're in there. You have to solve puzzles, you have to get treasures, and you have to try and get out alive with that stuff for it to count towards better equipment, more levels, whatever the thing is, like any extraction shooter, really. I would be down for that. And Capcom could do it without having to get James Cameron to sign on, which means that it's actually doable.
Actually, too. It's one of those amazing things where I'm like, wow, this really seems like it'd work in like a Raccoon City setting.
Yeah.
And they just don't do it. And they always do some weird ass multiplayer like Resistance or Reverse and
Right. Oh,
um
it worked.
or Umbrella Corps or whatever. And it's like,
If you were going to do one level, the size of like the Call of Duty DMZ, like a Warzone size level, doing Raccoon City, totally could. And then think about all the 90s drip you could stuff into the game.
oh my God, could you imagine if someone was doing that? You're gonna have like the flannel jackets and like
Oh
tying
my
shit around
God.
your
Well,
waist.
I'm not
Like,
even talking. You're
untied
dressed like a
shoelaces.
90s SAS operator.
Mm.
You got the M170 chest rig, a gas mask, the hood over your face. You're wearing the black leather gloves, and they got umbrella or whatever.
You'll look like a soldier from The Rock.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, but like you could just stuff that game full of like the workarounds that those like the Delta operators did for their guns, the carbines with the flashlights literally like taped to the
yeah,
rifle and stuff like that, like Black Hawk Down style carbines. Or I mean, you just do so much in that period of the 90s if you were just doing Raccoon City. But if you wanted to have multiple levels, it's like you could technically have the RE4 map.
yeah.
We have the technology.
village,
You could just have,
Pueblo, castle, the island, whatever.
yeah, you could have everything but the island in one. You could have everything in the entire, like if you were doing a Warzone size map, you could build the village and the castle, and you could just have a city sized thing in the hills of Spain. Wasn't it Spain? It was Spain.
Yeah, Spain.
Yeah. And it's like that would be incredible. Because like all the high level loot is deep in the castle or on the island where it's the most dangerous. The island is where they have guns to shoot at you. They shoot back. You're also worried about other,
Yeah.
other character or other players and stuff. Like, oh, I'd be so down. I'd play the hell out of this. And Capcom could do it. Like it is very doable for Capcom. So, if you work in Capcom and you listen to this, all I ask is just a tiny little byline in the credits. Just where you're all like, oh yeah, and this guy came up with the idea. That'd be great. Be all time epic. Or no, you know what? No, actually, since it's pie in the sky, I would like to do the voice for one of the mercenaries.
Yeah, let me in. Let me do one of these voices.
Yeah. Scan my face, put me in there, get me like even if it's just a Ganiato randomly walks around and stuff and gets shot.
He yells at you, throws it.
That'd be cool. I ask for no money. Just make the game because I will play it all the time and maybe put my mug in there. Right? That would be I have a feeling that would be immediately one of the best extraction shooters, or at least most popular extraction shooters overnight. That comes out. Ooh. Maybe not. I can't really think of
the problem is we're both talking about really good ideas for an extraction shooter. By the time that shit would get made, it would be so burnt out. Like the whole genre would be like burned to the ground at that point.
Nah, not a Resident Evil one. Oh my god,
maybe not, because that people have been asking for Outbreak for how long? So they still want an Outbreak, and they're still not getting an Outbreak.
You could totally use the name Outbreak too.
Outbreak 3.
Or just Outbreak. that would be excellent. And honestly, they've been looking for like live services games. Now's your time, Capcom.
I wonder if they more than anybody kind of went like, everyone's kind of fucking like losing a lot of money on these. Maybe we don't do one.
Although, yeah, but this one would print money.
You could kind of argue Street Fighter is basically live service.
It's pretty close to it. If it's not officially considered, it's close enough. But
well, here's the thing: are you talking about something that would be would that be a purchase in? You got to buy in $30, $40, $60, $70. Or are you talking about a free to play?
Well, it could work free to play, where then you buy costumes and stuff like that, just like Warzone. I was thinking it would be like a game you buy in, and then you buy DLC. New maps that come out.
Yeah, like I mean, I feel like rather than a game where it's just constant, like just a smorgasbord of things, cosmetics to buy in a shop, like having a $30, $40, buy-in. I think it works better. That didn't sound as loud as you thought.
But it was a little bit loud. The cap for my water bottle sprang off, and $30-$40 buy-in it separates out like a lot of that like the cheaters and like the scamming / hacking and that kind of stuff. Like it gets rooted out by having to buy the game. Not all of it, but a good amount of it.
One of the things I was thinking of, because I'm actually going through Silent Hill F, because people have been asking. Although, Twitch side is very happy. I think the YouTube side, for some reason, just really doesn't care. I don't know what the hell I don't know what the answer there is. Very huge divide between interest. But metrics aside, analytics aside, it's a very good game. I hear there's an amazing twist in the middle of the game, which I haven't gotten to, but I must be really close to it. But so it's an Unreal 5 game, and it's very detailed. Really, really, really hyper detailed. But it has that issue, we talked about the yellow paint issue, where things are so detailed, but very few things are actually interactable. And when you need to go somewhere, it's like it's very hard to tell, because like, oh, you jump out, you can crawl over this window, go out this windowsill, right? But there'll be like 3-foot fences that just, no, you can't go over that. And you're like, why? like the game is just a sea of invisible walls in this very hyper detailed 1960s rural town.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about with like intention, which we weren't talking about on the podcast, but we were talking about it where it's like game design, because it's getting so detailed, it's almost harder to have intention that guides
Yeah,
the player. You almost have to have yellow paint now because it's so hard as the player to know what's interactable. Now,
yeah,
granted, one game that does this very well, that does that intention where you can kind of like jump and grab and crawl and over most things is Naughty Dog's best, The Last of Us 2. It does a great job of that.
yeah. Well, Silent Hill
But
F
even then, I think it
is
uses like
not very good at it. It is very, very specific, like PS1 level of like this is what you can and can't interact with. Click on yes or no, pick up or not pick up or whatever.
interesting.
But it is so hyper detailed, and part of me is like, man, we need to get to horror games that allow you to just fucking use your environment. You know, like really, because obviously like, the big thing is like steel pipes, or a couple other things you find, and I'm like, motherfucker, there's so many pipes and planks of wood and like just chairs and things everywhere where it's like, okay, if a monster is coming at you and I'm running through a house, you better believe I'm throwing a chair or a pot or a pan at it or grabbing that big kitchen butcher knife and just like, fighting back. Like, it's wild how like, no, you didn't find the specific click this object, you have found a steel pipe, kind of thing.
I mean, could you imagine if there was like a horror game where you could kind of grab most anything and there's just like you're running through a creepy kitchen away from a monster and there just happens to be a cleaver in like a wall or something. You run by and it just says like you see the pop up that like, oh, you can grab that. And you're like, oh, you can grab that. That would be instantly all over. That'd go viral of someone just like grabbing a random cleaver out of a wall or a butcher block or something and then turning and having a weapon.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be huge.
I mean,
That would be something they put in a vertical slice to
yeah,
sell
I
you on
mean,
a thing, and then they never do it again.
it's basically, I'm kind of asking for like a Dead Rising aspect of interactability, almost kind of is what I'm getting at here, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Dead Rising plays it off for laughs and and yucks, in that series, but I also feel that like I don't know, it feels like a cheat when they're with so many horror games about like, oh, lumbering enemy object coming towards you. There, I don't got anything. What do I do? And it's just like, if I'm like here, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm gonna pick up this thing, I'm gonna chuck that, and we're gonna pick up this mouse, I'm gonna throw that, and like I'm just okay, like all the pen, like I'm not just gonna do nothing,
You just start stripping your clothing off and laughing maniacally.
Random
don't give
bullshit go.
I don't care what anything is. Like, a bear gets scared of that.
Right, like
Bear's like, why is he pulling his nuts out? Like, don't do this to me.
apparently someone said, like it pointed out in Red Dead 2, if a bear charges you and you just stand your ground and don't get aggressive, it'll actually like stop its attack and wander off. Like they gave it slightly realistic
Which type of bear?
black bear.
Oh, okay. Well, wait, isn't black bear the one that you want to get big and aggressive with to scare it off?
Yeah. Like if
Brown
you
bear's the one you don't want to do that with.
yeah, if you stand your ground with the black bears in Red Dead 2, they'll actually stop attacking.
I don't know if I mean, they talk about that in like survival classes and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but do you really, how do you trust that? You're a bear
Right?
running at you. It's like, what if this bear's different? What if this bear's a snowflake? Like today's the day where he's just like, I don't even care. I'm gonna maul this guy even if he isn't scared of me.
There's actually been an unusual amount of bear attacks this year, fatal ones, both in Canada and Japan. There's been like 11 or 13 fatal bear attacks this year alone. And recently there was like a ramen shop guy who he was trying to scare and punch a bear off, and he said the bear was not really ceasing his attack, so he judo throwed it to get it to run off, and then walked back into his ramen shop and went to work, and they're like, your head is bleeding, go to the hospital. No, shop must open.
All right, other free game ideas. Horror. Well, you gave horror games where you can like grab kind of anything.
Yeah, I think really you need to find a way to be scary beyond just limiting, your movement ability, and um just having the ability to just completely interact with your environment, I think is the way to go. And if anything, I would actually like to see voxels used like the way DK Bonanza did it. Because like, could you imagine being a game that's like in a mine shaft, or like something like similar, I guess, in setting to like Amnesia the Bunker, where you can literally dig your way out, Red Faction stuff. You can dig your way through stuff.
Tears up your hands or something like that, or
Yeah,
like if you
or
have
like
a
let's
shovel.
say like, yeah, you've got some creature locked out of a room and you have to literally try to dig your way out as fast as possible, kind of thing.
Uh,
Like,
yeah, that would be kind of horrifying. Like they're breaking through a doorway and you're trying to like create a new doorway to get out of.
yeah, like a dig a tunnel out or something.
That'd be, I mean, I'd be down with that. That's this kind of goes towards like every time you see them make a huge leap for them being like the industry or, uh, tech developers, like not necessarily devs for actual video games, but like the developers who make like ray tracing and stuff like the engineers that
Yeah,
design that stuff. And they always show like water. And I know water is like a very hard thing to program, was forever. And that's why they almost always avoided it, or they just had like something you couldn't jump into, you just drown kind of thing. Um, but they always show like, oh, look at how realistic the water looks or how it like reflects the sky or
yeah,
whatever. And it's like, and that takes so much resources to do. And it's the thing I care about least. Interactability is way more impressive to me. And it's like
yeah.
where I want
Well,
the resources, the
yeah, because
improvements, and I wonder what the, like I mean, again, if you're an engineer or developer and you want to answer this question, wherever, do it because I would love it. Um, you know, I wonder if is ray tracing that much of a leap because light dynamics is it's cool. It's very, very cool. But I think we've talked about in the past where it's all like staged lighting, planned lighting, intentional lighting is always, in our opinion, better, longer than just like, oh, and the light will bounce off of every object. Like, that doesn't necessarily, it's not as cool to me as like, oh, if they staged the lighting themselves, if they planned the lighting themselves, and then also you can
yeah,
interact with any of these
yeah.
objects.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there was something recently because the debate with the Steam machine and all that coming, um, and I forget what it was, but it was either Control or Alan Wake 2 or something, some game like that, right? And it was a person like looking across this pool or thing of water or whatever, and there was like a building. It looked like it was like a dam or something. I don't know. And it was like a $700 PS5 Pro. And it's
Right.
just sort of like a murky, kind of like vague-ish sort of like reflection. And then a $2,000 PC showing like a perfect reflection of the building across this
And
pond.
the sky and yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen this. Yeah.
And part of me, the big one for me was like, oh my God, how does that make the game better in any way, shape, or form? Like the reflection. And secondly, for that $2,000 PC, have you seen dirty water?
Yeah.
It's not reflecting anything.
Well, yeah, that's like 99% of water you look at, unless it's at a very specific time of day and it's very clean, clear water. It's just brown. A
Yeah, it doesn't reflect.
lot of it's
Most
brown.
most water surfaces don't reflect like a mirror like that.
Only at certain times of day. Light has to be coming in at such an angle that it bounces
Right,
up
and
and towards your
it's
eye.
like Puddlegate with Spider-Man and stuff, but it's like I see it all the time with like, oh my God, like this character's running through sea, all the puddles in the water, they're showing like correct reflections. I'm like, one, who cares? And two, what puddle in any city have you ever seen be like hyper reflective of the mirror image of whatever it's reflecting? It doesn't. No, it doesn't do that.
It
Like,
would be almost more impressive if every puddle was different. If
yeah,
only certain puddles reflected
right. If
and other
if if
puddles
if
weren't.
you could
Yeah.
have different sort of look and color and shading for like puddle depth, like depth of water plays like I mean that would kind of be more impressive, but it would also be another who cares.
Yeah, it would be a thing that like it doesn't really matter to anybody except for the really really nitty gritty tech bros, which uh, I it is cool. Like I don't want to pretend that this advancement in technology or whatever isn't cool. It's cool. It's just not as useful. It's not useful or impressive in the ways that I want a game to be
Yeah.
advancing. A game specifically. Now, granted, when we talk about like, I don't know, animation or visual effects leaps, well, granted, the last few years has been sort of terrible because visual effects teams are getting worked to death, and you can really see the quality of their work dropping off.
Yeah.
Um, and that's not their fault. That's just they are literally getting worked to death. But you look at visual effects from the early 2000s to even just 10 years later, even good, even really good. Like every year I watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, extended editions, of course. And every year I'm sort of like blown away about how well the visual effects hold up in that film. I think really the thing that's aging the worst is probably Gollum. But even then, Gollum looks pretty good still.
It also help. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can kind of because the lighting just isn't.
And he's still pretty
It's a
grounded.
little more flat sometimes than the environment itself or the set he's in. But he's also a weird alien looking creature.
Yeah.
So it really helps that he doesn't look like anything.
Well, it's like the Nazgul or trolls or
Yeah.
the Oliphants or whatever, like they all still work and hit very well. The horses,
Yeah.
like a lot of people don't know that a lot of the horses, especially in the mediums and the close-ups of people riding them, those are all CG.
Yeah.
What's that story about Liv Tyler like having to do like 5 days of just doing this to like just a horse's head, and they CGI'd the body of the horse in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's the one that had to rock the horse back and forth, and so there's just like days worth of
Because
footage of her just going.
I believe that's just the close up, right? Like of her.
It's the close up in the medium
Right.
because she
Because
couldn't.
there's.
They didn't want her. There was no safe way for her to
Yeah.
ride
Because
the horse fast enough.
they had stunt doubles. And I don't even think they were holding a person. I think it was literally like a sack,
Hmm.
of like a little like a big Frodo stuffed animal, Frodo or stuffed
Yeah,
puppet
for the
Frodo.
wides and stuff. Yeah.
And yeah, they're going and they had like these crazy things where like the dolly on these like low rider tractor, like holding it where like the horses are just kind of going through trees. But they're just like, yeah, we got these wide shots of them kind of like running, through the around the trees or whatever. But I think all the close-ups probably are. I'm pretty sure Liv Tyler didn't write any of those live horse shots. I don't think
I don't know.
insurance. I doubt insurance would cover that. Like
Yeah.
straight up.
She's not Tom Cruise. They should have cast. With this year, we were talking about like who would have been the worst best casting for Aragorn, because Vigo amazing. I mean,
Who was the guy they had to get rid of? He was kind of a name.
he ended up playing Dorian Gray in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Uh,
That sucks. Uh, that
yeah.
sucks for that guy.
Uh, ugh.
But yeah, like and Vigo wasn't even sure, and his son had to basically talk him into it and
Stuart
stuff.
Townsend.
Stuart Townsend, yes.
Yeah, he was also in like Queen of the Damned, Into
Well,
the
bro,
Deep.
they were even thinking of Sean Connery originally for Gandalf at some point, I think.
My God, that would have been funny. But he didn't. He said no, right? I think he was
Yeah, he
approached
did.
and he said no because he didn't understand wizards and shit. But I was like, God, could you imagine a world where Tom Cruise plays Aragorn?
Can you imagine a world where Christopher Lee plays Gandalf? I actually kind of can.
I totally could. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Ian McKellen. Now, in hindsight, you're like, no one could
Yeah.
have done that, but they could have switched roles.
Yeah, like at the time, if it was like Christopher Lee was Gandalf, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it.
Well, the thing is that Christopher Lee can pull off like natural menacing that I don't think Ian McKellen would have immediately.
Hmm.
But the thing is that it would have been more shocking to me. Saruman's turn would have been more shocking as an audience member if Ian McKellen was playing Saruman,
Hmm.
because he could have played that like, because the moment you meet Saruman in the first movie, like you look at Christopher Lee and you're like, yeah, it's a bad guy. he's a bad guy. He doesn't look nice. Even in, what is it, The Hobbit, where they have him come back and he
Yeah, he's still good
yeah,
at
and
that point.
he still looks menacing,
A
kind of.
little bit.
Um, you know, Ian McKellen could have played a Saruman that, like, when the turn comes, you would have been like, oh, and he can be menacing. He does it as Magneto.
Yeah.
All right. But then, if
So here's
Christopher Lee was Gandalf,
I see.
he,
Like I said, I can still see it.
yeah, but he wouldn't have been the same kind of charming. Ian McKellen is sort of
See, the thing
effortlessly
is, he would have
charming.
been a fantastic Gandalf the White. And he
Yeah,
might have
well,
been
because he's scarier.
and it might have been a little harder to pull Gandalf the Grey, but he would have been a great Gandalf the White.
I could see that. Yeah.
But here's a good question for you, though. I mean, because they've had plenty of games, and unfortunately, Monolith is no more and been shut down. Monolith Productions.
Not
Um,
Soft.
yeah. What do you do? Like, what is a free game idea for Lord of the Rings? Is they're always still trying to find a way to make it work. People like Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor. They like those games, and I think they're definitely quality titles, but they're also, I feel like there's still ways. What is the untapped potential of a Lord of the Rings game?
Well, it depends. Is it one where you play as the same character the whole game?
Hmm.
Then I would say Faramir,
Okay.
because there's a bunch of Faramir stuff that gets cut out if you're staying to around the time of the movies, if or books rather. Um, if you're not staying around the time of the books, um, there's I think that you play any game as Glorfindel. It's gonna be cool as hell. Especially even if you want to go in, because if you read any of the things that guy's done, he's basically Tolkien's Superman.
Totally, man. Yeah.
And the explanation that's given as to why he doesn't go with the Fellowship, because he's the most obvious, like, absolutely we should send this guy, is he's so powerful. Sauron watches him constantly.
Hmm.
And so they were like, well, we can't sneak anywhere with Glorfindel. He's so powerful, he attracts bad guys to him. And so, like, he is the distraction for the Fellowship. Like, that's the whole excuse as to why he doesn't go with the Fellowship. He goes somewhere else to draw attention, basically. That would be cool. Any game where you play as a ranger from the north, very cool. Setting a game in the time when Numenor is still strong.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could go to the Newman Order.
Um, a Hobbit game that follows, like, you don't have to play as Bilbo, but like a game that follows the Hobbit book more closely would be very fun. That's more of a straight up adventure than the other
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings books. So it's like you could do stuff like that. I think there would be a really interesting, it's sort of Haradrim, like the men of the East get corrupted in the Lord of the Rings novels, but like they don't start corrupted. And so being a Haradrim that doesn't go the way of the rest of the men, because as we know from just like our experience with, men are weak and they fall to the will of the ring and stuff like that, but like Faramir doesn't, where Boromir does. And both of them are heroic. They're both heroes. But Faramir is a quiet, bookish hero, and Boromir is like that guy's guy Like he's the guy you want to follow into battle. He's the typical hero. And Boromir falls and
Yeah.
Faramir doesn't, right? Being a Haradrim, a man of the East, in the lead up, like, you could do a whole game just Assassin's Creed style of like trying to prevent the Haradrim from siding with Sauron, or trying to sabotage the Haradrim. And like you can have, if you want to connect it to the movies or the game or the books, having like the reason why only half the pirates go, or the reason why there's not as many Oliphants or stuff like you could do that stuff like that. Obviously there's stuff where like you could play one of the Rohirrim. There's how many Rohan has like crazy backstory and wars and stuff, and it's just like Lord of the Rings. If you're not trying to do the books or the movies, has so much lore and history. Anything set in the first War of the Ring.
Oh, you want to talk about like Morgoth and like
armies
of Balrogs and stuff. And...
Yeah, you could easily do that for sure. You could do an entire game just in the fall of Moria.
Yeah.
It's just like you
or like trying to reclaim it with Balin when Balin tries to reclaim Moria.
Yeah, like that could be really cool. Lord of the Rings is one of those ones where it's like there's so much to do that it's sort of weird and sad that they've stuck to the thinnest, tiniest.
Well, they're so obsessed with like Aragorn being he's like the main guy. We got to have him as like the main character, or Golem and Aragorn.
And look, Aragorn's cool as hell.
Or just Sauron. They're always trying to like, something about like Sauron. We're going to deceive Sauron, or we're going to work for Sauron. But no, it's like, it's funny because Sauron is kind of like, he's just sort of like a bitch. Like he's like a second banana, or like a, he's down the chain of command, and he's just like the one guy left after all the people he rebelled with, all his leaders died.
Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting thing about Sauron too, is like Morgoth was literally a god compared to him.
Yeah, like he's just a fucking he's a patsy, or a he's a stooge, for someone that was way more powerful than him.
Yeah, he was a lieutenant and stuff, but like Morgoth is like scary. He was actually scary, but Morgoth is before the time of men, right? Like a long time before the time of men.
Something like that, yeah.
So there's only elves and dwarves. Dwarves might not even be around yet in Morgoth's time. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about at all, a lot of this is talked about in the Silmarillion.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck getting through that, because that's
it's not a history book. It's literally a history book.
Yeah, it's written like a history book.
It's a history book written entirely in the world of the Lord of the Rings, from the time of creation by Iluvatar to like up until and
you might have heard
Morgoth's.
Those names. You might have heard those names on Stephen Colbert sometimes.
Yeah, it's very dry read, the Silmarillion, but very interesting if you like lore. If you're really into lore,
although the Silmarils themselves, you would think would make a great gaming MacGuffin.
Yeah. Well, or I'm blanking on the name of the guy who recovers one of the Silmarils. But there's a whole adventure story of that guy and the things that they hint at that guy doing.
Isn't that kind of like a tragic love story, though?
Yes. Yeah. So, you have the head pats and romance that people so love. But you could just do a first War of the Ring 3,000 years before the books take place, where you play as Elrond.
Right.
Or you play as Elendil. Nobody wants to play as what's his name? Isildur. You don't want to play as him.
But come on, wouldn't that be great, getting to the point and just being like, you can even have a multiple ending where it'd be like,
you can choose to
into the fire, like, no. Like, you could just be like, Yes.
If
I actually
it-
know it'd be badass if he goes to do it, but he can't do it. He can't, so he takes his other arm and he cuts his hand off just to drop it in because he can't let go.
no, you know what you do? Uh, in the like previews for the game, you show all the crazy OP things that you can do if you keep the One Ring,
Hmm.
so that the temptation is real. And then if you do keep it, the game keeps going for like an hour where you're just this OP god being in battle against orcs and stuff until you get abandoned and then you get killed. Till the ring abandons you in that river.
Yeah.
Like,
And you
that's
just
how
get
you do it.
you just get arrowed really hard. It'd be like Crisis Core. You
Yeah.
just
And if you throw it in, you get the good ending, but you don't get any of the fun of going completely
you know
ham
what
on.
would be fun is if there was like a sort of like you don't see what it's doing, but it's like it's all dependent on how much you use the ring or how many like poor decisions you make or whatever,
Would be
like
great.
there's like a morality system like which determines the ending.
You know what else would be a great game? It'd be great, but also I could see people being mad. Just a game where you play as Samwise the whole way through. You're just Sam, frustrated by the fact that Frodo is clearly being corrupted, but there's nothing you specifically can do about that.
What did I hear? I heard something like fucked up the other day where someone was like, what if like they just put the ring on like a little necklace and put it around like a fucking pet rat or something? And then just kept it in a box. And the rat was going more and more insane or whatever as they make their way to Mordor, but nobody ever gets corrupted by it. Like it's just they just pass the corruption on to some poor animal.
Well, so
So
we were
Frodo
watching.
never has to carry it.
We were
I'm like,
watching it again.
that's fucked up, but what if?
They literally just put it in an envelope in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah. And they
and
put
it's
it
like,
in, and he puts it in a box.
yeah. So why don't you just do that? Just make a box that magic can't get out of.
I think the
Magic Man.
movie
Elrond could do it. You just throw that.
I think the movie is trying to impart when he comes back, he says it's awoken, like it wasn't awake really yet, or he heard like its master's call, although technically it already did
Right.
from beforehand. But yeah, I think they're trying to imply that like it was getting like Sauron was getting more and more restless at a certain point. So I guess, but yeah, like I just the idea that like, hey, so if the ring bearer gets more and more corrupted by it, why don't you just string it around the neck of some like awful animal and just like just try to take that, it's like, oh well, that's fucked up, but okay, like
You get somebody to swallow it. Okay. And then they can't use it even if they want to. And you just have to get them to Mount Doom. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just like a criminal or something. I don't know. Force them to swallow it. Although
so
it
many
does get
terrible
heavier.
ideas.
It does
Yeah.
get heavier. So it just like rips a hole through his insides. Oof. Oh God. Terrible. All right. Last game idea. We've done adventure games. We've done a horror game idea. We've done 2 extraction shooter games. So we need some sort of fighting game idea. Like what's a free idea for a fighting game? It's the time of the IP. That's what we talked about last week for our Thanksgiving episode.
If anything, I'm going to say it. I do think fighting games are a little too focused on competitive, like competition tournament viability, I should say.
Right.
Because obviously I want Soul Calibur to come back, but what if there was a Soul Calibur where the environment itself could play a factor? Like the arena had more, like, okay, say you're on like a pirate ship level, right?
Mhm.
You could like knock things over, like you could hit, you could like hit some rigging, which would cause like something to fall down from the mast or something, right?
Yeah, like fully destructible environments in a fighting game would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
By the end of the fight, it's just like the whole level's decimated.
yeah, and like, what if there's like things you could pick up and just throw? Injustice kind of dabbles with this idea a little bit, but what if it not entirely Power Stone? Like it is still mostly focused on like opponent versus opponent. But what if there was more just environment? And I don't want an arena fighter, you know what I mean? And I don't want like something super wacky, but just like what if there was just more environmental destruction, more environmental
Hmm.
things. Like the small things you could interact or pick up and throw or whatever, you know.
I could be down with
And
that.
the dynamics of the battle could shift or change depending on, you know, where you are, you know, in the fight. But again, that becomes like, okay, so how does it control though? So
Yeah, that'd be kind of rough. I was also thinking it'd be kind of a cool, like if you could use part of your environment to like get weapons, like you fill meter and then you can like
yeah,
you can literally rip something out of the environment to use as a weapon. Like that'd be cool in something like Invincible Versus where like it's superhumans
yeah.
or like and they just like, you know, you pick up a chunk of like rebar that ends in a concrete mace essentially.
Honestly, I think that new Virtua Fighter might be doing something like this because, you know,
Yeah, that's great.
all the short teasers we've seen, they're in like some like back alley, you know, somewhere in some big um densely populated area or whatever. But like we are seeing people getting, you know, punched through doors or punched into carts or whatever. And I'm like, I wonder if like the game plan is going to have a little bit of that sort of Yakuza like interactivity, you know, smashing into things, picking things up, you know. Um I actually kind of hope so. I'd rather have that than a meter. I don't want like meter mechanics. I'd rather actually have, you know, something like Virtua Fighter or Virtua Fighter have something where it's like, yeah, you can get knocked into places. You can pick, you know, you can pick stuff up and throw it at the opponent or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
that could be cool.
yeah, I
What
mean,
what other genre have we not? There's probably a lot of genres we haven't covered, but
yeah, I mean, I mean, there's genres like I don't particularly enjoy or play very much, but like racing in particular. And you know, recently Kirby Air Riders came out. Here's the weird thing: that game bombed in Europe, like just bombed, but it did really well in Japan. And we don't really know what it did in America yet. But part of me is just kind of like, well, I mean, sometimes when a racing game is a little too oddball in its concept, it's hard to sell. Um, you know, if anything, all I really want back personally, like from a racing game, is like I either want something like Diddy Kong with a full adventure mode, like which Kirby does not have, or something like Burnout, you know, or Burnout Split Second. Like I want to have like a insanely, you know, property damage, environmental destruction based racing game again.
yeah, I don't think the last racing game that I played a ton of was Rush. So that's 20 years ago.
Right. So
You know, um,
it's I if anything, I kind of miss having crazy destructible environments, destructive, you know.
oh god, what was that? What was that racing game where you were playing? Like you had the actual island of Maui and like all the races. You had free drive where you could just drive around the
It
island of Maui.
sounds like Forza Horizon, one of them.
Yeah, I'm forgetting which one it was. I played a lot of
You're
that
not thinking
because
of
that
like
was like
you're not thinking of Test Drive 6 or whatever, are you?
I genuinely am blanking on the name of it, but I remember I played like there was a couple of months where I played that and I played Skate, and that was what everyone was just like. We'd hang out in a chat room and play, or like a party and play that. That
Mhm.
must have been a 360 game. Must have been a three. There must have been.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I
Test Drive
like
Limited.
I like driving it. Same with like skating games and stuff like that. But like driving games that have a free drive mode where you're hanging out,
Mhm.
especially if you can customize your car. Like if you could get really nitty gritty with customizing your car, like what parts you put into it, you know, different, you know, accents and color schemes and stuff like that. Like the tragic Call of Duty emblem maker, but car, you
Oof.
know, where you could get
Yeah.
that in depth with it.
Well, I can
And
tell
then you
you.
just drive around with your friends. That'd be great. I don't really
Well,
care too much about racing all that much, although I do. It's fun, but
Test Drive Unlimited is set on Oahu, and it's a 360 game.
is it a while? I thought it was, huh?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
train is modeled after the Hawaiian island of Oahu and features over 1,000 miles of roads and highways. Even a sequel is in Oahu as well.
huh. I don't know why I
The
thought it was
island
Maui.
of Ibiza. And part 2 is that. Oahu and Ibiza. Part 2. So, I mean, sounds like what you're talking about.
That might be what it was. I might have just been misremembering which island. Yeah. Huh. There is there is a racing game called Crew Motorfest that's based on a map inspired by both Oahu, but that's not the game I played. So it must have been the one that was based in Oahu. But still, I enjoyed driving around and playing like that. Free drive in games like that, I really like doing. I've never been hyper into cars and racing, so I feel like that a
Yeah,
lot of what people love about those games is lost on me.
yeah.
But
I need to blow something up. I need something to die in a racing game. Like,
so you want
I
like
can't.
Road Rage or Road Rash?
Right. So, which is like it's got 2 seasons. I think it's getting a third. I'm shocked Sony doesn't want to do anything with Twisted Metal, but
It's getting a third?
maybe I heard that.
Huh.
I don't know, but like my point is like it got at least 2 seasons, but no new game in how long? So
Fair.
just wild that they'd never brought car combat back, Like that's a genre that like really died a long time ago, sadly.
Yeah, wasn't there a movie that did like it was like Death Race or whatever that had like it was Car Combat the movie, and that was a popular movie, right? That had like Jason Statham in it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Was that Death Race?
I don't know, but you know what was even better?
Hmm.
Speed Racer.
Speed Racer was good movie. It was a good movie if you like Speed Racer, the old show. It was not a good movie if you did not like it.
I wonder about that because the movie's so fantastical and weird with its
It's
setting.
very in line. It's very in line with the old show.
The show was not as fantastical as the movie. I feel like the movie was even more trippy with its visuals than the show ever was. Because the show would he'd just be racing along like a cliffside or something.
No, there was like the movie modeled a lot of its like montages and races and
it
stuff.
feel like the movie was more sci-fi than the show. But
No,
maybe,
it's
but I don't
line.
I don't have enough knowledge of the show.
My brother was a bigger Speed Racer fan than I was, so maybe I'm misremembering it. But no, it seemed pretty close.
Yeah.
In the style and in the humor.
The movie's fucking great, but
movie is great. And then I forget if they show in the movie like his brother is like the
Racer X,
yeah, Racer X and stuff like that. Yeah, a Speed Racer game would be very fun.
So many games took that plot point or that character type.
Yeah,
so many games. Who's this mysterious person that's like me but like cooler and better? And it's your brother.
It's your older brother.
Proto Man. It's Virgil. It's like there's like so many Japanese games in particular where like they got so heavily influenced from that. I swear. Racer X is like, I mean, Shadow's practically Racer X in a weird sort of way. Kind of oddly.
The Hedgehog?
Yeah, kind of. Vaguely.
I don't know anything about Sonic at all.
Sonic doesn't have any actual family or like family, unless you're talking about, shut the fuck up, furry fans. I know about Sonic Underground, the cartoon show. I know about it. That's non-canon. Eat a dick. But like, no, Sonic doesn't have any like actual like family tie. He doesn't have a mom or a dad or anything, or like brothers or whatever. But Shadow's basically like the evil, like he's the evil Ryu version of him, because that's really what is Racer X, evil Ryu, or like negative Scott.
It's constantly surprising me that there's lore in Sonic. Every time you drop a little tidbit of lore, I'm like, really? And people, although to be honest, I also found it sort of insane. Not like not making fun of it necessarily, although we've made plenty of jokes about like bronies. but like the amount of investment people have into My Little Pony's lore, where I'm like, but do you actually care? And yes, the answer is yes. They care about the lore, and I'm constantly surprised by that.
I am no fan of it, but all the thing is, as much as Sonic fans might hate me, especially modern ones, I stand with them. That movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, got fucking robbed at the Game Awards this year. Robbed, blindsided. Because I saw that on a plane recently. And let me fucking tell you, there is no way anything nominated in adaptation was as good as Sonic 3, because Sonic the Hedgehog 3 wasn't just a good adaptation, it was a better than source material adaptation. Because it's basically adapting Sonic Adventure 2, and it is better than Sonic Adventure 2.
Okay.
Like,
I can dig that.
Keanu is actually a better Shadow than the games are. Like, he's a better written Shadow. Like, he has everything about it is done better. Like even Robotnik's grandfather is handled better. Although I think Jim Carrey probably should have reined it in a little bit with the grandfather. But
Yeah, I don't think that's something he can do.
reining it in. Well,
Yeah, I don't think
actually,
he
I
can.
do think it is, because if he has like, Eternal Sunshine on Spotless
Yeah, but
Mind,
he's working with Michel Gondry.
right? But I mean, like, there's moments in that movie when the grandfather, like when his granddaughter gets killed, right? And it's like he's playing it straight, and it's like you're doing a good job. And then there's a moment where like his grandfather just like straight up tells his son, it's like, you'll never replace Maria. And it's like, you're killing it, Jim. Like you can do this. You can do like some fucking serious moments.
Yeah. Didn't he do a thriller? He did a thriller that was like the number 21 or number
23.
number 23.
23, yeah. So I'm like, there's moments where like he's fucking killing it, but like there's too many moments where he's just being a goofball, like as both. And I was like, oh, rein that in. But regardless, like I'm with the Sonic fans. They got robbed. They got robbed hard. Like Keanu was the right person, which is so fucked up to say, but like Keanu plays tragic well.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, he's got some experience with it. He knows how to do it. That's a
Like just
downer note.
everything about that movie was like, because here's my thing. I think it's just stupid to put that much plot into a Sonic game. Like, to me, like trying to do this much plot is just dumb. And then having this backstory, where like a kid gets fucking gunned down. I'm like, this is
Look,
stupid. Why is this in
Sonic was never supposed to have plot. Okay.
Exactly. It's like, why do you have this? This is dumb. The movie did a way better job than the games did of
Well,
legitimizing that, and like, okay, like this is how and this is why, and they changed made a few tweaks to make it make better sense, make it feel a little bit, sell it a little better. And I'm like, god damn it, I hate the fact that this is done well. This fucking
some
annoys me.
might argue that movies are better at telling stories than games.
Well, it was true for Sonic.
But that's all the time we have today.
I mean, look, okay, Sonic 1 is like, whatever. 2 is like, this is actually pretty good. 3 is like, fuck, they're outdoing Marvel now.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, we're ending on controversy no matter what. With
No,
that, we do have patrons.
you know what? I'll bet you it's a cold take when I say Sonic 3 is better than most Marvel movies, especially in the last 5 years.
Well, yeah, the last what is it, the arc that they're on now? What are they calling it?
Phase 4,
Phase
5.
4. Yeah, phase 4. Yeah, has not been strong. It's been pretty rough. But really, on that note, we do have patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Seto Spalis. Thank you, dude. And our producers for this episode are Dragon Wolf Makoto, Osnite, Donglemeister, Zybernite, Scrunami, LCL Mayhem, and Ziggy Z. Thank you, dudes. We'll catch you next time.
Later, dudes.